probably go ahead and get started. It's a couple minutes after 7, and then we may have some other folks that jump in. So I think as far as intros, I think is it Scott Moore? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Scott Moore. I'm friends with Marcy. Live here in Hurricane, West Virginia, and currently waiting to get my EV6 that I ordered.
All right, awesome. You have an ETA on that?
Not yet, sadly. And if I don't get it soon, my wife will probably divorce me because I'm driving her crazy.
He might be more obsessed than I was originally.
Well, we could just go. We don't have a lot of folks on this evening, so we could probably just go around the room real quick. So the next on my screen is John. If you just want to do a quick intro, where you're from, where you're at, and what you drive.
I am in Parkersburg, and my Model 3 is sitting behind me, a black Model 3 Standard Range Plus. I got a little over 75,000 on it now. And master of nothing, jack of all. I know that's backwards. Of course, I'm dyslexic too, so it goes with the territory.
And I think you know this Marcy Stevens character over here on the far right.
Character, I like that. Yes, I am.
How's your EV6 doing, Marcy? Yes, well, Marty, we can hear you.
Hello, Marty. It's wonderful. She's fabulous. It's identical. I was worried it might drive a little different. She's perfect. I will say that because it was a quote-unquote demo model for 724 miles, they did not take care of the outside. So it's got swirl marks where they've brushed it when they washed it, and it's got a couple chips. I'm going to have to get all that buffed out and redone. So that's next on my agenda. It breaks my heart, but because mine was perfect. But it'll have to do me. I don't have a choice. So we'll get it fixed.
All right.
Did you have one before, Marcy? Did something happen to it?
I did. I had one for 7 weeks, a special edition model. And they only made 211 of them. And I got hit by a truck that ran a red light and totaled my car.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, thank you.
Curse of new vehicles.
Yes. So luckily I found one in Indiana because they only made 211 my color, but I found one used in Indiana and got it. So out of 211, I had 2, so I'm pretty lucky. Pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Well, don't let anybody run a red light and hit you with this one.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best.
All right, Scott, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Scott Hamilton, live in South Charleston, West Virginia. Marty, maybe a half a mile from you by road in Thousand Oaks. And I have a Model 3 red, about almost 79,000 miles. Have had it since 2018. It's long range, just rear wheel drive since we ordered it so early. But we absolutely love it. And I've mentioned to people that I think that this car could last maybe as long as I last, maybe another 20 years, as long as someone doesn't run into it. And so I'm thinking of you, Marcy, that really feel for you so quickly into your ownership of your first EV6.
Yeah.
And we've taken on long trips, as people like Robert and John know, been coast to coast with it, and just, love the car. That's enough. And my wife's name is Susan, and she likes to drive it, as do my 2 grown kids.
All right, go ahead, Marty.
Well, I'm Marty Wyrick. I live near Scott. I have Model 3, same color as Scott's. Don't know how that happened, but I got it a month or 2 before Scott got his. because we were line standers the day they opened the order books. We went to Columbus 7 a.m. and stood in line.
Oh, wow.
And that got you some extra perks, like we got permanent music for free, and we got some artwork and other stuff because line standards were pretty special to Musk. Really changed his company. We're have Model Y on order, and ordered it in April. Don't know really when it's going to come in. And well, that's enough of an introduction.
I'm Robert Furnett, also Model 3 owner. I live in Martinsburg, West Virginia, the Eastern Panhandle. My blue Model 3 all-wheel drive. I've had it since late 2018. And of course, mine's only got about 35,000 on it, I believe. I work from home now since the pandemic, so haven't been putting a whole lot of miles on it unless I'm taking a trip to the beach or down the Charleston area or wherever. So yeah, that's me. And I have solar at my home, so my car has the license plate sun powered, since I generate more electricity than my house and my car use every year. All right. Go ahead, Marcy.
I was just going to say, between
Marty,
my two cars, I had 45. I had 9,000, a little over 9,000 miles since June, and I work. I work from home too, so I've been driving it like crazy. I look for reasons to drive. That's what I told Scott. He's going to be looking for a reason every day to go out.
Yes, that's for sure.
I was going to say Marty's license plate is good with the number, or forget oil is what it amounts to. And
that's because they won't let you say another word on the license plate.
Well, I'm going to get, nobody has it yet, supposedly, when I did the search, but I'm going to get electric, but with K's instead of C's. But they
kind of like the website.
They won't take an order until I think it's November 15th. So hopefully nobody will snag it that day.
All right. Well, speaking of electric, I'm going to share my screen here. Just a couple little blurbs news that I saw today. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
I don't know how many folks are interested in electric aircraft, but the Aviation electric aircraft, all-electric aircraft, had its first flight today, and that's a 9-passenger regional electric airplane. That's supposed to be going into production, so it had its maiden flight today, which was kind of neat if you're kind of watching the electric aircraft space. It's not the first electric aircraft. There's been some others, and there's a small, like 2-seater Cessna type electric aircraft that's been in production for a little while. But this is the first larger aircraft.
Yeah, I thought there was a outfit in Puget Sound area that's converting old planes to electric and actually putting them in service, that they're using them in their commercial service. But I
read that too, but I don't know how many they've actually converted. At least one. They were float planes. They were doing like service around the islands off the coast there.
Right. Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything more about them. And then the other bit of news that I saw was that we had heard that 35 states' charging plans for NEVI had been approved. But now today we have the news that all 50 states' EV charging plans have been approved. So even the West Virginia plan is approved, at least the state that it's currently in, the initial plan that they submitted. But that could possibly change, especially in the year 2, 3, 4, 5 as it goes out there. So another bit of good news.
Yeah, I had heard that. That's great. Kelly did her job.
Yeah, near.
So we'll hopefully be seeing some more charging stations, especially for the non-Teslas in the state, since we don't currently have any charging stations for non-Teslas, fast charging stations. So hopefully we'll get some of those here soon. Well, within the next couple of years.
And I have a question on that. Maybe you
Yeah.
have some history. I'm just interested to know because, all the traveling I have been doing, obviously Electrify America pairs very well with Sheetz and especially Walmart's. I don't understand what has blocked. I mean, I know Cole and all that, but what particularly has blocked them from putting stations in West Virginia at Walmart's? I don't understand.
Well, I have a very cynical theory, and I'm told it's wrong. But who do you think caught Volkswagen cheating? West Virginia. So West Virginia is going to be the last place Volkswagen puts any plugs. They say.
And Marcy, getting back to the history now, Electrify America is an offshoot of Volkswagen, and the settlement that they had to create with the U.S. government for the diesel cheating that they did a few years ago. So Electrify America, it came out of that settlement. And so, yes, there is the theory that since West Virginia University was involved in catching Volkswagen in the diesel scandal that cost them billions, that some people theory is West Virginia goes to the back of the line. Now, Electrify America has announced in their future roadmap that West Virginia is on that list. We will get an Electrify America station, but the date on that roadmap was like 2025 before we would get anything for Electrify America.
I'd be happy one in Central.
Yeah,
might be about the same time we get the heavy station. So
yeah, I heard that that the other thing they say is, well, there aren't enough electric cars in West Virginia. But of course, we use the same argument that Tesla agreed with, is that while there aren't a lot of electric cars in West Virginia, there are a lot of people that would like to go through West Virginia on their way from Toronto to Florida or from Pittsburgh to Myrtle Beach. And that's what we're seeing with all the superchargers in the state, is they're pretty heavily used. I mean, Charleston's regularly backs up. There's 8 plugs and they're often full. But so it's just going to be a while. I'm trying to put together a deal where we get Chip to kick in his $1,500 and we get the city of South Charleston to kick in some. And I want to get in touch with this Gerald Wyrick. He doesn't spell his name the same way I do, but pronounces it the same. And maybe he's with the auto dealers. Maybe get some auto dealers to kick in and put one in South Charleston before 2025 or 2026. But we'll have to wait and see what that happens. The NEVI plan really boggles my mind because they're using an estimate in West Virginia of $300,000 per plug, which just is outrageous. Tesla's is more like $30,000. So it just doesn't. Hard to comprehend. I should get off my white horse, but that's my hope. Unfortunately, I had COVID during the thing at the Capitol, where I would have been buttonholing people that day. But
well, and Jared didn't make it to that event. Like I think I told you, I think he had COVID or was out.
That's right, he had COVID too.
So, but I did talk to his second in command who was there, and she took down the information and said she would pass it along, and I haven't heard anything back from them. So probably going to have to follow up directly with Jared.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah,
I have a garage plug in an everyday sense, but I am one of the people, me and my friends, we travel a lot within West Virginia. We go glamping and camping and, things like that. And so that stinks. So I'm going glamping for my birthday next Sunday and I can't take my vehicle, and that drives me crazy. So, because that's a perfect place to use my vehicle, but I can't, take it. So,
it's only if you're going to a state park with a lodge, and they'll have level 2 charging if you're going to be there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, is North Bend an exception to that?
Yeah, North Bend doesn't have enough power to run their lodge, let alone charge some electric cars.
Yeah. Okay.
They have 2 chargers.
North Bend does?
North Bend has 2 chargers.
No, North Bend's charger. Okay, because they just sent us their 2 chargers They're two Tesla chargers. They sent them down to Hawks Nest when the Hawks Nest ones broke.
They were listed. I haven't been to them, but they're listed. There's not. Maybe they're not Tesla. They are J1772 plugs.
Okay, well, that's good to know because I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but that is a note for everyone on the call. I mean, most of our state parks, if they have a lodge, it sounds like all of our state parks that have a lodge have some type of electric vehicle charging. It's only going to be level 2 charging, but they do have charging.
Yeah, and also the one up in Wheeling, Ogilvy has plugs too.
Yeah,
and Snowshoe has plugs.
Yeah.
And we have a program funded by a member, Chip Pickering.
Oh, yeah. I've used that.
And we've put in 13 stations around the state now. And there's 3 more waiting to go in. And the latest one we've really been wanting for a while, and that's Fayetteville. And it'll be in downtown Fayetteville. And there seems to be some question about Cass Scenic Railroad. We sent them the equipment. Chip sent them the equipment, but they haven't installed it yet. And I'm going to try to write that superintendent a letter here in a day or two, asking what's going on there. Did we lose Scott?
I think we lost Scott.
Yes.
Hey, Marty, sorry to interrupt. You're talking about Fayetteville. That charger, is that just a Tesla charger, or is that any?
They're J plugs.
Okay.
It's the standard plug, and Teslas can use them too, but they'll work with any electric vehicle.
Yeah, Tesla comes with an adapter.
Yeah, that's what you'll have, Scott. And then I have an adapter. I'll show you what you could get, so you can use Tesla if you ever need to.
Okay.
Well, Tesla destination chargers, the level 2 Tesla chargers,
not the super,
not the superchargers.
Not yet.
If you ever need to, not yet. Coming soon.
Hopefully,
and Tesla just came out with a adapter so that Teslas can use Electrify America stations.
Cool.
Oh.
Well.
Yeah,
if you have a model that was made after a certain date and has
if your model was made after October 2020, or you pay $2,000 to get it retrofitted.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
They haven't released the cost yet, and they don't have them.
Yeah, they did.
First quarter. Did they?
No, they released the cost this week.
$250, wasn't it?
Yeah, they released
$250 for the adapter, but the retrofit for the later models.
You're right. The retrofit's not out yet.
Yeah,
but
it's not out, and I have a service appointment on the 15th, and I asked about the retrofit. They said we don't have them yet, and she told me she doesn't even have a price. That was out of Columbus.
Huh.
Okay. Well, my new one will be able to use it if I ever get it.
Scott's coming.
Okay. I may have spoke out of turn. They may have been removed because I cannot find them on PlugShare now at North Bend. But they were there, and there was plugs. They were J1772s. They weren't Teslas.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'll have to just make a run out there. It's not that far.
All right. Well, I think, while we've got everybody, as far as upcoming events, and I know, Marty, I think we want to talk about the Governor's Energy Summit as well. So we've got the Belpre event in across the river there, Belpre, Ohio. Indu coming up October 2nd, next Sunday. And then we've got the Governor's Energy Summit in Stonewall Resort coming up. That's October 24th. 24th, 25th, 26th, but I think the date that we're talking about for EVs is the 25th, Tuesday. So that's coming up, and they're going to be looking for folks that can show up with an EV on the 25th. But Marty, I think we had some concerns about charging availability and sharing charging, and so has Kelly got did anybody respond to you about that or anything?
Kelly's had discussions with Garrett. I intend to get in touch with Garrett. Garrett's the new Tiffany that took over the energy thing.
Okay.
He's running the conference, and I think that the staff management at the resort has been notified. I do know that they've been able to accommodate some charging in the past, but it's more like a NEMA of 5-20s, which are 110 volts. But they only have one J plug there and 3 Tesla plugs at their installation. Last time I was up there, the energy conference, only 2 of the plugs worked. 2 of the Tesla plugs worked. I had to trade off with one of the governor's assistants. So the whole idea is, they're supposed to have one of the green power buses there. They're supposed to have a Nikola semi there, and they're supposed to have Rivian there. And John threatened to come up with his backup battery, and I promised to bring him a solar panel too. So he can charge his car at something like 0.2 miles per hour off my solar panel.
And before I forget, so we've got the energy conference. Also, we have a members meeting that would typically be on the 11th. We've changed it to the second Tuesday of the calendar quarter, but I actually have a conflict with that. I'm going to be out of town that week, so I'm going to propose that we move that to the following Tuesday, which will be the 18th of October at 7 p.m. And so I'll send out an update about that. I will be back over in Delaware for that near the beaches that week. Yeah. We're taking our electric bikes over there and doing some riding.
I may be in Texas or on my way back from Texas that week.
The 18th?
Yeah, we're going. The week before, I'll be on my way to Texas, and I'll be on my way back. We're going to the Rio Grande Birding Festival, and one of our trips is called Rockets and Birds. We're going off to the National Wildlife Refuge right next to SpaceX's rocket park farm. Cool. So that should be an interesting trip. But yeah, so I may or may not be available.
Okay. All right, and then Marty, I think you wanted to ask about. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say on the 18th, I also have a conflict, a church session meeting, but do we change it because of Marty or I?
Well, I mean, if we're going to end up with, I don't want 2 of the officers to be gone. So, and if I have to change it from the 11th anyway, we can change it to anything we want. So, what about the 25th? Would that be better for everybody?
That's when we're going to be up at the energy conference.
Oh yeah, that's the energy conference. Duh.
We have a face-to-face meeting at the energy conference.
It could possibly be before.
You're breaking up, Scott.
Uh-oh.
I could do October 4th, move it up a week. That's next week.
Move it up a week. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be able then.
You're available.
Oh, Mr. Moore. What's his first name? It says
it's Scott. Scott
okay.
Moore.
Scott, we lost you.
Oh, I think he might just.
He may have had to hop off for a second.
Yeah.
He muted his camera. He might need to get a refresher on his coffee or something.
Yeah.
I've got tea tonight, not coffee. All right. Well, if you guys are available on the 4th, I don't think that's
I am available.
Problem. I don't think that's a problem for me. Yeah, that should work.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move it up to the 4th and since it seems like most folks are available.
Hey, Scott, I missed your introduction, Scott Moore.
Hi, I'm Scott Moore. I'm good friends with Marcy Stevens. Currently don't have a car yet. I did order a EV6 the end of August, and just happy to join in. And I'm really excited about the car. I think the car is the coolest car I've ever seen in my life.
That's great.
And Marty, I think he's in the Taze Valley area.
Okay. Were you at that
Yes.
Yes.
out there at the Paneras, Scott? Yeah, okay. I thought you looked familiar, but I couldn't place you. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I came to that at the Panera, and I told my wife that morning to be ready when I came home. And I had it in my mind that I wanted the Ioniq 5, and rode over with Marcy, which I was already impressed with hers. And it was between the Ioniq 5 and the EV6. And I went through the Ioniq 5, went through Marcy's, and after circling around, I came home and told the wife we're going to Barnesville and order me a car today.
That's great.
The EV1.
Yeah,
The
the EV
EV1,
bug
yeah.
bits. The
Yeah,
EV bug bit.
Are the Ionics being supplied? I mean, last year they sold 90 of them or something, and every one of those went to California.
In order to get one, the closest dealership that I could get to talk to me about ordering one was Athens, Ohio. People in Virginia told me they weren't allowed to sell to people from out of state. I thought my money was just as good, but maybe it's not. But no, seriously, after I looked at them all and rode Marcy's twice, she let me drive hers once. I'm like, I'm sold. I gotta have this EV6.
Great.
Yeah, the Ioniq 6 has a more sedan look to it. It's more rounded, and it's going to take the place of the Hyundai Sonata, which is what I had before my EV6. So it's totally going to change from the 5 to the 6, and then they're going to do away with the Hyundai Sonata. So I think they're kind of waiting to ramp that up when those start being produced.
And Marty, before I forget, did you want to talk about the rally?
Oh, Kelly Bragg and I were talking. Kelly, in case folks don't know, is the Clean Cities coordinator for the state of West Virginia. She has money.
She works for the West Virginia Office of Energy.
Yeah. And she has some money for PR that can't be spent on building plugs, like we'd like them to be. But she said that she'd like to, willing to talk about having a Tesla rally to Tesla, West Virginia, which is a small town. According to what I see on Google Maps and Google Street View,
I don't even think you can call it a town.
it's an intersection. Dirt road called Tesla Road in some county road south of Sutton. And so I told, and she's thinking we could have the Nikola Tesla Mountain Rally and invite all EVs to come and drive to Tesla, West Virginia. And wouldn't that make a consternation to get about 100 EVs driving to this little country intersection about it's about 30 miles from Stonewall. And so she's gonna talk it up with the state, with the resort, and it's probably about a year off, but it would be fun. It's gonna be after hello, you still there? It's going to be after there's an event in Custer, South Dakota called the Sounds of Silence, and 200 Teslas come together every year. And the first year they only had 10. When the 10th car plugged in, it blacked the town out. The whole town was black.
My goodness.
So I guess they've fixed that some way or another. But yeah, so it would be about 70-mile round trip from Stonewall, and we would have to arrange for lots of plugs for people to charge up. But by next year, both the Weston and the Flatwood superchargers should be back and should be active. I'm hoping that the Flatwoods one comes online before the Governor's Energy Conference. So that's just an idea. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Several other states are doing these sort of things. There's one down Asheville, North Carolina, that kind of overwhelms that town. They now have 3 superchargers in that town, and one of the reasons they do is because of this rally. They really overwhelm the superchargers on that day. And but I think it'd be a lot of fun to have an event like that to really publicize the electric vehicles in West Virginia. And of course, we'll get a lot of out-of-staters. People in Pittsburgh are crazy for events like that, I think. So we'll probably drag a lot of them down here.
Asheville's a great place. I like that.
Yeah. So and that's just my thoughts, and we'll see how that goes. Hey, just for some history for Scott and Marcy, this club, the WVEAA, was originally called the Kanawha Valley Alternate Energy Transportation Club, and almost all the members were experimenters who built their own electric cars. And then after the Tesla came out, we reformulated at a meeting in Sissonsville, of all places, at a little restaurant there, because a guy named Art Campbell, he's since passed, from Parkersburg drove down and with his little Tesla key, and he threw it on the table and said, "Have at it, boys, don't break it." And all of us got to drive his P90 Performance 90 Tesla up and down the bouncy roads around Sissonsville for about a half hour. What a blast that was. And we came back and we said, well, I propose we form the club, rename it, and create a goal of putting a fast EV charger at Tamarack. That was our goal, and we worked on that for years, and we've been totally unsuccessful. With Tamarack, it's simply too political. Every time you go to meet with them, all they want to argue about is the tolls for people living in Princeton. And we haven't gotten anywhere yet. And of course, Tesla didn't put their supercharger at Tamarack. They put it at a Sheetz in Mount Hope.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully we'll eventually get something at Tamarack so people can go and spend their money at Tamarack.
Well, we had a commitment from the West Virginia Department of Transportation Secretary to put DC fast chargers for non-Tesla vehicles at Tamarack and the state capitol complex using the Volkswagen settlement money that the state got, and state hasn't done anything with. So they've been sitting on a few $1 million. And then the NEVI money came along, and since they had waited so long to do anything with the Volkswagen money, then they said, well, now that this NEVI money is coming, we want to wait and see how that shakes out before we install anything. So ultimately, there will be chargers at Beckley and Charleston, but yeah, how long that will take is up for guesses.
So there's an interesting paper came out by a professor at Stanford within the last month, and he went around and he had a protocol, and he tested all the DC fast chargers, the non-Tesla fast chargers in the Bay Area, and there were hundreds of them, and he found that only 72% worked, given his definition of working, which was you come up and you plug in, they start charging within a couple minutes, and you don't have to call anybody, you don't have to unplug and plug again, you don't have to move it. That only 72% of the plugs worked. And of course, did that bring the the critics out of the woodwork for that. But that so there's an issue with the quality of the non-Tesla DC fast chargers. They don't seem to be as reliable.
Well, and speaking of that, the Electrify America is in the process of upgrading stations again, and they are been delayed in putting them out that they're down, so make sure you're checking plug share also.
I didn't have any issues. I just got back from Charleston, South Carolina, and I also went to Kentucky and went to Indiana the week after. And I, of course, am using my Electrify America, but they not only have been for weeks giving complimentary charging for, but they've also upped everybody's pass to 1,000 kilowatts again. So that was really nice. I have personally, knock on wood, never had an issue, and I've been on probably 5 trips already with it at all. What I did learn, though, is if you're going to use the complimentary pass, I always do it from my app and then plug in. You need to plug in first to get the free charge. So I learned that going to Indiana, and of course I made sure it was free coming back, but I haven't had any issues with them. But they have been upgrading all their stuff. They're also supposed to be putting canopies over all of their stations as well.
Well,
the first one I've seen upgraded, they have not done that.
Now that's a separate project, but I talked to them a couple of weeks ago, and they said they were gonna do that and add some lighting as well.
Yes, they would all do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Musk promised to do that 10 years ago.
Yeah. I was like, Tesla needs to work on that too.
I wish they would get in cahoots with Walmart and put trash cans out there that can be, serviced, because a trash can would be super convenient because they're always at the
I've made that same. I mean, even at the Tesla superchargers, I mean, we don't have a canopy, you don't have a trash can, and you don't have the windshield cleaning supplies like that you have over at the gas pumps. So really, you need that same. Usually, they've got a combination trash can / windshield cleaning, materials all in one can kind of deal. You just need one of those over at the chargers, whether it's Electrify America or Tesla or whatever. And then you also have a canopy, and ideally it'd be nice if it was a solar canopy, but I'd take any canopy that keeps us a little drier when it's raining.
Yeah.
Well, I carry Windex in my front.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right about the trash. Fact is, some EV clubs have adopted superchargers.
Yeah.
And put their own trash can out there, and they empty it. But that's pretty.
If it's at a Sheetz or something where they're already having to service trash cans at the gas pumps, they can service the trash can over there, or a Walmart, or any place like that where they've got public trash cans.
I did run into a Sheetz in Wexford, PA, that had a trash can next to the Teslas.
Wow.
All right. Awesome. Kudos.
Yeah.
Now that complimentary charging, is that just for because you bought the EV6, or is that everybody that they give it to?
I believe that was everyone, because I'm in several different forums. And so if you have Electrify America, whether you have a monthly pass or the free charging pass from Kia or whatever, which isn't just Kia, that they were giving complimentary charges to everybody.
Oh, that's nice.
I read that last night on another forum. It is everybody who got the Electrified America. It is.
Yeah. It saved me $75 coming back from Indiana. It's nice. I wish I'd have known about it going up. I'd have saved $75 more. I wouldn't have to use my pass hours, but that's really nice. And then they upped everybody's charge. I mean, some people were down to like 100 kilowatts, and now they're back up at 1,000. So,
yeah, the nice days of Tesla charging 15 cents or 12 cents a kilowatt hour is long gone. I drove to Texas and back one time for $70, and now it's going to be This trip's going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I look for hotels with complimentary charging.
Yeah, that helps. It gets one of the 4 charges of a day.
I took my level 1 when I went to South Carolina. I went to South Carolina twice this fall. I took my level 1 and plugged it in, and it got me a good 15% a night of additional charge. So
Yeah.
a little extra something.
So the portable EDSE that comes with a Hyundai only does 110, doesn't do 240.
Yeah. Just a regular old extension cord.
Okay, because most EDSCs that come portable with most cars, like the Bolt and the Leaf, will do either 110 or 240.
Well, I bought a level 1 adapter just for 110. I don't think it'll do 240. I'll have to look now that you mention it.
Okay, because
It might. I'd be kind of surprised if they showed a modern EV without 240 capability, so that you could like take it to a campground and plug into like a 240 volt outlet kind of thing,
Yeah.
or in your
yeah.
garage or something.
I will check my little instruction. Now, I'm sure the car is equipped. I don't know that.
Oh yeah, the car can definitely do it.
Plug is that I bought was equipped. I'll have to look at the car.
yeah. So, for my son's, when he was driving the Volt, the original Voltec portable EVSE that came with it died, and we bought one for $300 from Clipper Creek, and it does both 110 and 240.
Yeah.
So they're not that expensive.
Yeah, I'll look. This one was, I don't remember how much this was. 120 maybe. It wasn't, it's an Electron, I think. It wasn't too terrible. But when I first bought the EV, I was like buying everything I may ever need, You know?
Gotta be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. That range anxiety,
You should see my trunk full of adapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go camping,
Going to the Grand Canyon, I took 7 adapters and I used 6 of them.
I've got a smaller subset of Marty's, and definitely the 30 amp and the 50 amp 220s are good to have. And I used both of them on our long trip.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
And
look at
if it makes you feel any better, we're still using 110 here at our house to charge. We just haven't pulled the 220 from the far end of the basement up through our thick garage floor. But if we get solar panels, I'll probably have it incorporated into that electrical work. And it gets the job done.
Yeah, I charged level 1 for the first couple of years I had my Leaf, way back when. And yeah, I mean, it can work. There's nothing wrong with it. It just takes a while to charge.
Yeah, it was nice just to have a little bit of extra juice here and there. But now I'm going to get on and look here.
Hey, there was some YouTube thing I saw that I just refused to watch. This is changing the subject. Some guy tried towing another car with his F-150 Lightning, and did he get stuck somewhere, or did he almost get stuck, or did he have range anxiety? He called it a disaster. As far as I can tell, he actually did what he intended to do, so that doesn't sound like a disaster. But he used the entire battery capacity, but I think he was towing with a low range with a small battery that only has like 200-mile range. And I think he went 32 miles to pick up a car and came back to 32 miles. By the time he got back, he was sweating bullets because he was down to 2 or 3 miles or something. But I don't know if anybody saw it, but it just seemed like malarkey to me. He could have slowed down. He had lots of options. He used a trailer that was basically a big sail to increase the wind resistance dramatically, and I thought it was fun. But
I didn't see that particular one. I saw another one that was going around though with an F-150 and a family towing a camper, and they had. I mean, they knew that the range was going to be significantly reduced, and they had planned their route appropriately. But the problem was they arrived at an Electrify America station that was down. It wasn't operative. So they planned properly, showed up, and then the charger wasn't available. So they had, he disconnected the camper, and he was trying to go take the truck somewhere to get it charged, and he ran out of charge. In the F-150, had to get it towed. So, but and then people were bashing that, but it's like they knew that the range was down, and they planned. It's just what let them down was the fast charger wasn't available.
Yeah, Electrify America often isn't available from what I've seen.
I mean, Marcy apparently has had some good experiences, so that's good to hear. But on the media, everybody always just wants to talk about when somebody will talk about when they've had a bad experience. You don't hear so much when they've had a good experience.
Yeah,
but Electrify America is faster, and so the coast-to-coast record is held by somebody in a Porsche charging at 350 kW. Electrify America, but they send out engineers to every station the day before he showed up.
Yeah,
so
that was
make sure they were working.
Yeah.
Well, that was Kyle Connor of Out of Spec Motoring.
Yeah.
Who has the Cannonball record in the Model 3 also. And they were on the phone constantly with Electrify America, and they were Electrify America was trying to make sure those stations were working. They had people meeting them at the station that were testing them prior to them getting there. There was a lot of work to make that happen.
Yeah, and we don't quite get that kind of service, do we? The rest of us. But yeah, if they work, they really work well. But man, getting them to work.
Well, I think they'll get there. I know
Yeah.
Electrify America's coming out with their new generation of chargers, which I guess are going to maybe solve some of their compatibility and downtime issues, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's had something to do with the spec too. I think the CCS spec was a compromise, and the actual spec is wide, but to make everything work, it has to be a narrower portion of that spec. It's just strange. I mean, there's one thing I'm told if you have to kind of lift the connector up on your car, you have to give it a little tug upwards or something to make sure it really works.
It all kind of reminds me. I mean, if you guys, I've worked in the technology PC industry, computer industry for a little while now. And if you remember the 90s when USB first came out, some of the technology, we called it plug and pray, and that it you hoped that it worked when you plugged it in, because sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And if you had this device with this brand of computer, it didn't play right well, and blah blah blah. But nowadays, do you even really think about it? You just plug it in, and 99 times out of 100 it works. You don't think about just plugging the flash drive in or whatever. It just works.
Yeah, I think you're right. It will eventually get.
It'll iron itself out.
The only complaint I have so far is, and Scott, you'll notice this too, when it's dark and you are trying to plug in, like in the EV6, the actual port is just black. And then you've got these lights that indicate what your charge status is, which blind you. So you cannot see to plug that in. So I've read in a forum that they actually have taken like a fluorescent, or not fluorescent, but a reflective silver metallic paint and like outlined, the plug. You can see it at night, because it is hard to see, and you're just trying to jam it in there and it won't go.
Yeah, and even the vehicles, all these vehicles, we're kind of like in the first or, generation 1 or generation 1.5 kind of vehicles. Yeah. It's just like, when you got the first iPhone or the first Android smartphones, they might have been great at the time, but, give it a few generations and, it's going to be fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I still wouldn't trade it for nothing. I'm so.
I hear you.
And some of that standardization is being driven by Europe as well. For example, CCS forcing Tesla to go standard with that. So.
Yeah, the Europeans just told Tesla, if you want to sell your cars, put a CCS socket in it.
Yep.
Oh, and they did.
Two additional comments I've got is checking ahead. we checked ahead with a hotel and asked if they had charging, and they said yes. So we got there, and it was 110 charging, which was sufficient. You know, it was going to work. It wasn't as nice as, of course, 220. And then one of the superchargers out west, I forget where, had a windshield washer bucket with a squeegee with it, which was nice, but only one. I'm sure Tesla probably didn't put it there. It was
No, I'm sure somebody else did. But yeah, I think Tesla should work with site hosts to make sure basic amenities are covered.
Yep.
Especially if it's a gas station, fuel convenience store anyway. I mean, they're going to have this stuff.
Yeah. Fortunately, with Sheetz here in West Virginia, you just walk over to the gas pumps.
Yeah, that's what I do. But it's, you know, you shouldn't have to go over there and congregate with those people in their gas cars.
Well, you got to dodge them too, because they're going to be aiming for you.
So I have a question now, because, you know, Scott, I've asked 1,000 questions and I've only been on like 3 calls, but this is how you learn, and I love learning. So my question is, now you've got me all thinking. So the 220, is that a NEMA plug?
Yeah,
it can be.
Yeah, most of them are. Yeah, NEMA has 75 different plugs.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. But
Yeah.
a typical NEMA 1450 is like a typical common 240
So that's
volt.
what I have in my garage. But if I'm traveling with, if I want to, is there such a thing as a 240 where I can use just an extension cord? Is what I'm asking, I guess.
Well, at campgrounds, it will be the same as what you have for an electric dryer, the 1450 amp.
1550. Okay. Well, how do I know that that wire, the copper wire that's inside, is a heavy enough gauge to not burn up?
Well, if it's got a 1450 plug on it,
Yeah.
it's big enough.
Okay. Because I had 8 gauge in mine, and it was getting really hot, so he replaced it with 6 gauge, and it's been fine.
Wow.
Yeah, it is theoretical possible that the campground may not be sized right. If they're not sized right, they're going to tell you that you cannot charge at a high rate. And I have seen that where people were talking about that.
And campground might not be using the 1450 plug too. Probably if it's an older campground.
Yeah, some of
Because I
them.
know there's several of them. Marty, I know you've got like all the adapters. So I mean, I know there's several of them.
Well, the other plug you see at campgrounds are the 6-30s, which are usually 110s, but at 30 amps. And so that's usually the choice you have. So almost all our RVs come with two cables.
Okay. I mean, when I'm looking stuff up on Amazon for 220, it's showing me level 2 chargers, not level 1s. That's why I was asking.
Right. Well, level 2 is 220.
Yeah. Okay.
Level 1 is 110.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. So, but like the Clipper Creek that we bought for my son, it'll do both 110 and 240, and nearly every EVSE that comes with the car, at least the cars I'm familiar with, and I've seen several, they'll do both the level 1 or level 2. I'm surprised that your Hyundai did not come with one that. Of course, the Tesla's not provided more. Are they? It's an option.
Yeah, I mean, it came with our cars, but it's not.
No,
it's not
we don't get
included
one at
anymore.
all. We don't, because I mean, I got mine paid for because I argued about it because they didn't tell me over the phone before I went to purchase the car. But they don't come with one because they don't know your setup at the house. They don't know what kind of plug you want to use. They don't, everybody's different. So it just doesn't come with one. So they bought me a level 2 charge point charger. That's what I have in my garage. But then I have the portable ones when I travel, and that's the level 1, and then the Tesla adapter. And hopefully that'll cover me in all circumstances.
Hey,
Well, if you check on PlugShare, you're going to see 1450 listed. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think that you have just a level 1 EVSE, portable EVSE. I don't think there are any level 1 Teslas destination chargers. They're all level 2s. So you might want to check that again.
No, my level 1 is just to plug into a regular outlet, like if I'm at a house or something.
Right.
It got me 15%.
You use that directly into the car. You don't use the EPSC. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. And then Scott, I think, had a question.
So my question is completely offshoot from here. It's not even about charging or anything. But it's about the cars themselves. So to me, I mean, these are obviously not cheap cars. And to me, I'm looking at mine as a long-term investment. I see me keeping this car a good 8-10 years easily, if not longer. And so something that happens to my car currently, I drive 20-25 miles to work every day, and I get a lot of road damage. So something I've been looking into is about getting a wrap put on my car when I get it. Any of y'all done that? Know anything about it? Thoughts?
Yeah,
Marty, you've got it.
Yeah, I have a wrap on my 2011 Chevy Volt. I get a clear wrap. I get it done at Art of Tint in St. Albans there at Route 60, and whatever the number of that road is that goes to Winfield, they renumber it every year, it seems like.
Yeah,
and
35.
right there, it used to be 35. It's something else now.
I know.
But so right there, I'm thinking about this Model Y. I'm thinking about having it trailered. Tesla will deliver to West Virginia. You don't have to go and pick it up because we're more than 150 miles away. And I'm thinking about having it trailered to Art of Tint so it doesn't get any scratches on it. Because even when I picked it up in Columbus and drove it straight to Art of Tint the next day, I still got chips in the front. Not very many, but a couple. And the Volt was it was about a week when the time, and I had to pick that up in Virginia, and it had several chips in it before I took it to get it wrapped. And the wrap works really well. I can say if you look at the wrap on the old Volt, which by the way I'm putting up for sale this week, it's got maybe 1 or 2 chips through that wrap. It's worked very, very well. It's a 3M product. I forget what it's called, XL or something.
How would you rate that against the ceramic coating?
Well, you do both. Ceramic coating does not protect the paint from rock chips. It protects it from sun damage and
right
stuff like that. So if you want the rock chip protection, and you can actually ceramic coat the wrap then if you want. But the ceramic coatings make it look even prettier. But you have to get really close to tell that it's a wrap. And they do a nice job there. And I guess there's other places, but Art of Tint's been doing this for a long, long time. And the first one I had just the front grille, the rear view mirrors, the outside mirrors, and strip on the back at the lift gate, so that when I'm lifting stuff on it, if I drop it, it doesn't chip the paint there. But the Tesla, I had half of the hood done, and that was a miscommunication. I was going to do the whole hood, but they didn't, and I didn't want to rip it off and do it again. So, but this time I'm going to get the whole hood done. So I've got chips just a half an inch beyond where that transit on the hood, half an inch beyond where the coating ends. So it's very protective. I'm all for it. Of course, some people don't care. And
yeah, I wish I would have done it on mine, so I would recommend it.
yeah, and it'll be $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
When I get my Model Y, I'm going to have that done like Marty before anything happens to it.
Yeah, I actually tried to get it done in Columbus when I was going to pick it up, and I tried to get Tesla to do it, and they laughed at me. And then I called around and tried to, well, if I pick it up at Tesla, and I drive slowly over to your shop on 3 miles away or 10 miles away. Will you do this? And they said, yeah, but you'll have to schedule it in. And we usually have a 2-week delay from order time. And we'll have to keep it for 3 days. And, well, I'm not going to live in Columbus for a week, so just drove it home. But the art tent, you can get it the next day. I think I called when I knew the delivery date. I called them and made an appointment.
Appreciate the information. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a couple minutes after 8, so we got any last-minute items or announcements?
Well, it's good to see new faces here.
Oh, I actually have one announcement. I got a note from Plug in America, Marty, Joel Levin.
Okay.
And they awarded me a 2022 Drive Electric City Captain Award for National Drive Electric Week, and asked if I wanted to fly out to Los Angeles their award ceremony
At your expense?
at my expense. I was like, yeah, I appreciate it, but yeah, I don't think I'm going to fly to Los Angeles. So I'm going to record a 2-minute award acceptance video and send that to them.
Okay.
Congratulations, Robert.
Well, thank you. I was wondering how many they give out. I thought, well, yeah, they probably give out like 400 of these, so it's like no big deal. But I actually looked back in the previous years. There's only been like 1, 2, or 3 awards given out. So
Oh, that's great. Wow. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
they recognized West Virginia.
Well, you need to put a blurb on the website and on.
Yeah.
Send me the blurb and I'll put it on Facebook then.
Yeah, I'll word it to you. The actual ceremony, I think, is on October 27th. So that's when I still have then I guess they do a video outcome of the award ceremony.
Well, my buddy Ron Freund is on the board of PIA, so I'll mention that to him. So, yeah.
And I don't know if you guys saw the pictures for our Drive Electric Week event, but we had some pretty interesting vehicles for a Drive Electric Week event in West Virginia. We had a Zero electric motorcycle and a Ford F-150 Lightning electric truck, which was pretty unique. Those are hard to get a hold of.
The Zeros I've been pretty intrigued by. They've been around a long time. They started selling before Tesla, I think.
Yeah, this guy he bought a used, and his was a 2017. I don't know if you guys didn't see these. I can share those.
I don't did. Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
So that was the motorcycle. We were charging it off the F-150. Because he drove over from Maryland, and he wanted to top it up before he went back. So we just plugged it into the F-150 to charge it. There's my wife sitting in the front of it. The frunk, the big frunk.
That's a frunk.
Yeah, it is.
That. Let's see here. I haven't had any more pictures. We had about 12 vehicles. Okay. I got some more pictures, but those are the ones I had picked out. But anyway, yeah. So having Zero there was pretty cool.
Well, I really want to see the semi. That's going up to the governor's conference. That's going to be something.
Yeah, and actually, the Rivian, I haven't
They're
seen Rivian
so
for
nice.
years.
I've seen so many traveling, but we have one here in West Virginia. But they're everywhere down south.
I saw one that I've twice passed semis loaded with Rivians on the turnpike, and I saw one at fully charged in Austin back in 2020. Right as COVID was breaking out, but it was a pre-production model. So yeah, they're pretty nice. I like the fact they're not as big.
Driving that F-150 was, and I'm not used to driving full-size trucks. And so, that sucker felt just huge and like a boat rolling around curves. And I'm sure if you drive a big truck, you're used to that. But.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. We were thinking of getting an F-150 to tow our camper when the Sienna eventually wears out, and Sue and I decided not to, and we're going to go with a Model Y, even though. But any EV is going to suffer range degradation towing something, but we've come to accept that. So, and I agree with you on the F-150. It's just huge, and we weren't used to it.
Oh, get a semi. It ought to tow pretty well.
Oh, and Rivian, we saw Eric, when we came out of a restaurant, he was here, said, that's a Rivian. It was going down Capitol Street. So we followed it, and it parked. And we got out, and it was an employee that was going from Virginia. He was an employee going to the plant in Normal. And he was quite happy to show it. Take pictures and everything. Talked with him for about 20 minutes one evening. They were impressive.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we're Chapter. Appreciate everyone jumping on, and we'll do the members meeting on October 4th. Unless something changes, and I'll send out a note about changing the date on that. And if I get any pushback on that date, like if a lot of folks can't make it or something, we may have to change it again, but we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks. Well organized. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.